Hi everybody, I'm CJ Liu and you're listening to the Fired Up with CJ show, and today we have Steve Bhaerman here, who is an author, a comedian, a lecturer, and also a former political science dude.
Yes, I studied political science, although I never actually dissected an actual politician.
We would like to see that, though.
I think
what would be inside?
There's no heart, there's no guts. Whoa.
Exactly.
No, I've never done that. But I wanted to.
All right, so here's a question for you. I know that in your past that you are actually trying to have good, productive dialogue between two opposing parties, political parties. And what I wanted to do was take what you learned from that experience, because hey, we're about to face that all over again with the upcoming elections. And you know what? We have so many problems if we don't just pull it together. Like, that's our biggest problem, I think, is that we have to pull it together as a nation and kind of do, as you say, pull it together, have a productive dialogue. And so I'm going to use the information that you have in your book, Spontaneous Evolution, Our Positive Future and a Way to Get There from Here, as a framework for discussing this issue. So when you think of awareness, what are the three things when you talk to these folks who are on the two opposite sides of the political spectrum? What is the awareness that what is in the collective unconscious that makes it so hard for us to go from here to here?
Well, I think first of all, people have different realities. They see the world differently, and these differences have been, I think, intentionally accentuated so that the body politic actually stays divided. Because when you have a divided body politic, it's a lot easier to control people. If we actually rose above these separations, began to focus on what we have in common, we would find that 95% of us really want a lot of the same things. We want a government that is honest and transparent. We want a society that is just and so on. What happens, however, is that we've been divided into these two political camps, and I think through essentially through fear, people have been manipulated and kept separate. I think once something that's been very successful, a colleague of mine, Joseph McCormick, began transported dialogue up in Seattle, Washington. And one of the things that happened initially is that it was very messy. People were angry. People wanted to be heard. But as has been discovered in Native American Council, somebody once asked this Native American teacher, how do you work things out in council? He says, we talk and talk and talk until there's nothing left but the obvious truth. So essentially, what has to happen is all of the residue, all of the pieces that people, all of the toxicities that people have taken on and projected against some other who is in their mind, the villain. People have to release all of this stuff, and at some point, there's nothing left but the obvious truth, which is what we have in common. Another colleague of mine, Jim Ross, who was up there in Fort Townsend, Washington, he has conducted a number of these wisdom councils. And at one point, he was working with a group of people where there was a lot of division about the issue of pro-life, pro-choice, abortion, etc., and so forth. And of course, at the beginning, everybody was polarized, and everybody took their polarized position. And then there was an uncomfortable silence, which is good. The uncomfortable silence was there was nothing more to say based on these polarized positions. And then slowly, these people had to reach for some other way of communicating, and instead of dealing with these dueling dualities, they found a one emergent way. And the one thing that everybody in the room agreed on at the end of the day was that they were working for a society where every child who is born and into a family where they are wanted. That's what everybody in the room agreed on. So in a certain sense, in conducting these kinds of meetings, first of all, you have to be willing to let people share, to let people vent, to listen to somebody else's opinion that you don't like, and to do it from the space of a loving heart. It doesn't mean you have to agree with them, but you have to recognize that they're a human being. And, every one of those people in the room who you disagree with, even if you believe that they're totally insane, that they're resisting reality, whatever you want to say about them, they have love too. That they have family, their aspirations for their family is probably very similar to the aspirations we have for our family. And as the Swami would put it, we need to release this homeland security in favor of heartland security, because in the head we have beliefs that keep us separate. And what people believe is unbelievable. But in the heart, we have this coherent faith of love, where we actually have that in common, where we all know what love is. Now, there are people on the planet, some would call them socio-pathogens, people that are, that really have various ideas and intentions. But most of us, probably 90 to 80% of us, are essentially healthy, normal people whose thinking might be distorted based on what we've learned, based on how we've been taught, based on the tribe that we've grown up into, with certain beliefs. So when we bring people together from the red tribe and the blue tribe, we find that there's often a lot of misunderstanding that, for example, the liberals or progressives tend to project a lot of toxicity onto fundamentalist religious people, and often there is great agreement about common values. Once the which of religion is taken away from it. Another colleague, Richard Flyer, has started something called the Conscious Community Network in Reno, Nevada. And he has brought people together from all across the political spectrum around certain virtues and values that we all have in common. And when their groups meet, they don't talk about politics. They don't talk about the things that are going to separate us. They simply focus on what is it that everybody in the room wants and how to get that.
And so let's see if can I wrap it up, because unfortunately we're at our Swami 5-minute mark. So in your book you talk about a 3-step process. One is awareness. So and I think what I'm hearing is the awareness that we actually come in with our own potential distortion field that we get from our particular tribe. So it's being conscious and aware of those perceptions that are maybe erroneous, or perceptions that you got, and questioning those.
They may be distorted.
Yeah. So that's one. And then the intention I'm hearing is really when you're with your relatives or someone that you meet that has a different point of view than yours, it's really the intention is to go into your heart and listen from your heart, and to try to figure out what your common values are, versus figuring out on like our current political system where they focus on what separates us. It's what actually brings us together. As you were saying, if you keep on talking and talking, you will eventually arrive at the truth. And I think that the third step you talk about is the practice, and I think that that's, again, the practice of listening from your heart, and listening to the core values and where you connect versus you separate. I think
that's a great sum. I really like that. You did a great job in boiling it down.